Today's episode of I don't even know what it is, Mad Stream Highlight or whatever, we're going to be doing a 2017 review for, I guess, to celebrate the beginning of 2018 and the end of 2017. Today I've got with me Joshua Schmidt and Bohdan Temnyk, who've both had pretty decent seasons, and we're just going to basically...
No, I haven't.
I was trying to be kind to you.
Yeah, thank you.
We're gonna basically run down the full timeline of 2017, set to set, etc., and just kind of talk a little bit about how the meta evolved and just generic things like that. So yeah, Josh, I guess you could probably start us off to let us know what you've done this season. You got quite a good few results this year.
It's been alright.
It's been alright.
Just everything?
This from this year, yeah.
I won Prague. I got third at YCS Remy, and then fourth at the next YCS Prague.
And you top nats as well.
Oh yeah,
you're a sicko.
Sicko.
Absolute sicko.
What about you,
and I
Bohdan?
bubbled one.
Well, I had the beginning of 2017 sort of locked up. I came second at Sydney, and then the rest was just downhill from there. So, if you got me towards like the end of 2016, I could have told you about all the cool things I did. But this year was just YCS Sydney. So
we're coming.
I can start off if you want.
So we're coming off the back of 2016, which was essentially INOV format.
No.
That was right. Am I wrong? Right?
No, it was
okay,
another
right.
format.
Cool.
Yeah.
So Raging Tempest release date was like early February, but I think that there was one major event in January, right?
That was YCS Sydney.
Okay, there was YCS
Yeah.
Sydney.
Yeah.
So that was really the first event of 2017 that wasn't the upscale and power creep yet again through Raging
Yeah,
Tempest.
it was the tail end of the format where everything was kind of defined, but everyone was still sort of just unaware, I guess. Like
Was
the
it the
representation of Paleozoic was like really low in comparison to the event that you played before, obviously.
So that was the same format as Bochum?
Yeah,
so.
exact same.
Okay,
format.
okay.
Yeah, so that was like sort of okay leading into 2017. I guess I probably would have rather like play the new set, but we didn't want to have a YCS Sydney 2016 where we had the release of Bosch on the same week as the event, and everyone sort of had to rush roll their cards, and yeah, it just became an issue. So
That was such a pay to win event. Was that Bosch Sydney?
yeah, it was very funny. It was insane. People were just buying cases. Like it didn't make sense. All these people came out of the woodwork and they were all just playing Pepe, and you just don't understand how they spent so much money. But
I bet they had fun with the adjusted list.
oh yeah, made no sense.
So what did you play for Sydney? You did play Frogs, right?
No, he
I played
Metal
Metal Foes. Yeah,
You fucking idiot! Why?
Metal
He
Foes was my
he
deck.
never plays the best deck.
Yeah, you always say that, but I'll stand by my decision. It was the best deck for me, even though I came up
for me.
for me.
What did you do?
Personal
Like, why?
I don't know. I was like, there were like I think in that format there were like 4 people who played Metal Foes that I thought were like just the best at the deck, and it was like me, Billy, Furman, and then like my other friend from Texas, Cam Neal, and there was also Deuce, but like Deuce I didn't talk to until like way after that. So like we just like killed everyone with Metal Foes. I won my LLDS and then another event like back to back, and Furman and I would just always talk. I topped every event that I played like with Metal Foes. I came either first or second. Like it was insane. That's including the YCS. I don't know. Like I just feel like no one figured it out, but we sort of we had the cool stuff going on.
Oh, that's fair enough, bro. If it works for you, then it works for you.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I was just surprised. Like we're going into the event, we're like, well, okay, well, what happened at Bochum? Everyone's playing Paleozoic. Paleozoic has to be a well-represented deck, right? Because I guess in the grand scheme of things, it's a lot cheaper. Maybe. I guess Toad was still kind of expensive. Like the whole rest of the deck is just commons and like, crappy cards. So
Yeah, but the same for Metal Foes, right?
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Well, you'd figure they'd just play what was being played at Bochum, so that didn't happen. we had maybe a I'm trying to find a representation, but I'm pretty sure it was like maybe 60 Paleozoic players out of 1,000 people.
Well, it was not
Something-
that
something
well
insane.
represented at Bochum either,
Yeah.
though.
Yeah, it was really strange, Pit. I do remember Bochum's representation was, like, in terms of meta decks, Metalfoes was the most represented at Bochum, and then it was...
Oh, of course, but you figure when the deck has like 2 in top cut at YCS Anaheim, and then, 2 in top 4 at Anaheim, and then 2 in top 4 at Bochum, that it would just be a lot bigger. But instead, you only have it at like 5 out of 32. You have Metalfoes at 12 out of 32, and then ABC 7 out of 32, and then the rest is just like male Cosmo Heroes, Blue Eyes, and then a Yangtze Metalfoe deck. So like I don't know if that's just like Australia being the outlier again, or like, maybe we figured something out that you guys didn't because it was at the end of the format. Who knows? Who knows?
Australian defining the meta as usual.
Oh yeah, of course.
So after Sydney, what's the next major event? I think it's Prague.
It was YCS Seattle.
All right, it was Seattle.
Yeah.
That was the first. That was Raging Tempest, right?
That was the first zoo
Okay.
YCS. Yeah.
Right. So Raging Tempest is on the horizon. It's about to come out. What are your thoughts? Like, how are you anticipating Zoo's like introduction to the game? Josh, do you want to start us off?
Pretty bad.
Well, at first I thought it was going to be just 100% Zoo format. I thought Paleo was dead as well. I didn't really test it at first. So, yeah. I thought it was just going to be Zoo all over.
Mm-hmm.
And I played Zoo for the first couple of regionals and stuff. That's when they announced the point system as well for us.
Yeah.
So it was kind of big. So that's when I also started to play like a lot more regionals and stuff.
What about you, Bohdan? I guess you probably assumed Zoo was also...
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a regional the week of release, and I played like a really weird Kaiju Zoo deck. And by really weird, I mean it had 2 tanky in it, and I still stand by that to be almost the correct decision, because towards the end of Zoo format, people were still playing 2 tankies, so I guess I'm kind of correct.
At least you said almost correct.
Almost correct. Well, I remember looking at the deck and I said, this is just a bunch of normal summons. And like the only way that I ended up topping that event, because I think my deck list was still like kind of awful, was because I would just go like activate Slumber and then I'd OTK them, right? Like Twin Twister Slumber Rat was just like OTK every time. So I'd just do stuff like that and people just hadn't figured it out. Didn't have Ash in the format. You still only had like Maxi and Ghost Ogre, I guess, and those cards just they didn't stop you from dying. Maybe Ogre, but
Maybe it did.
But I remember Noah was playing Seattle, and I don't think he did enough testing, and he saw my deck profile, so his deck had 2 tanky in it, and he just got way too much shit for it. It was great.
Zoo is a really strange deck for the game. I feel like it's probably one of the best decks ever, yet when you think about it conceptually, the deck doesn't actually really do much in terms of, like, when you think about Dragon Rulers or Necros, like, the end boards they would make.
I think it's very, very flawed. Like, just a bunch of, like, standalone good cards, but when everyone's playing it, then it sort of just becomes this, like, awkward back and forth where you don't have, like, a lot of wiggle room to sort of outplay your opponent. It's just like I get to beat your Dryden or I don't, and then I don't get to play. Does that sort of make sense?
Yeah.
Just said 4 pounds.
It's just yeah, exactly. Like, but then like obviously the later we get into 2017, the less applicable that becomes, right?
Oh well, yeah. It only works in certain formats. It doesn't work.
Yeah. I feel like at the beginning. I still feel like Zoo was like the more powerful deck with like 3 rat. Obviously, like Fusion Sub. Oh, we'll get to that later. With this skipping too far ahead. I still feel like it was the most powerful deck. But like obviously, Paleo just exploited Zoo like to the point where Zoo just probably had to hard main deck for it, or like
it was like
cards should have been for Paleo, right?
The thing with Zoo format was that Zoo was like so powerful and so destructive for other like decks. But whenever I played it, I just felt like it was still solvable because what you did was not really that broken, and just Paleo just was the solution for Zoo.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, well, like if Zoo's playing cards like Mirror Force and stuff like that at like the beginning, right? why not just play the deck that utilizes something like Mirror Force a lot more effectively, or something, like all this silly stuff. But the top 32 breakdown for Seattle was just still a lot of Zoo, but you saw like 11 standard Zoo, and then like 9 Kaiju Zoo, 1 Kaiju Artifact Zoo, and then like 3 Artifact Zoo. And then, of course, like all the other dumb stuff, which is just like 1 Cosmo, and then surprisingly only 1 Paleozoic. So I don't know, maybe people just hadn't figured it out, or they saw that, hey, like this deck came out either the week of or like 2 weeks before, and this is the deck that I want to play. Like this is the expensive deck that I'm playing now. Yeah,
it was not easy to play Paleo that format.
Yeah, true. I think Ed was the only person at Seattle who was still playing that Grasshook Screener. Yeah. Well, like he was playing that Grasshook.
Because Ed is always playing like weird stuff.
Well, like he told me that he talked to you guys. I don't remember when.
Oh, I did talk.
So I was just assuming there was something about it.
I did talk to him before Proc, yeah.
Yeah. So I thought, oh, that's kind of cool. Like I was surprised he didn't talk, but I think he just like he got destroyed by something that wasn't Zodiac, which sucks.
I think when we started testing 60 card Paleo, someone mentioned that Ed was also playing it, and so I messaged him and talked to him about it, like how he felt with it.
I think it was definitely a very like sleeper choice.
Yeah, it was great. It was like one of the best decks I've ever played, at least for the format. That is.
Yeah.
Do you guys feel like the overabundance of Zoo in OCG is what made it really popular over here, or do you think people just recognize, okay, this is the best?
No,
deck?
it just had to be popular. It was that.
Yeah,
good. It was
the best.
Such a consistent deck. It's like it's great.
I'm gonna say best. Doing the old finger hands. You. Hey, someone just brought up, hey, Bohdan, remember when you called Tough bad? I still think Tough is bad because everyone was playing Tough in their Go First deck for like a couple of weeks.
All right, you skipped like 5 months there.
Sorry, I had to catch that on Twitch. But anyway, yeah, that's I guess that's Seattle. Like Noah lost in the finals to someone he probably shouldn't have lost to, but
that was the Jobber guy, right? Where everyone
it was Alexis versus versus Noah, but like that matchup is whatever. Like that was like actually kind of just standard Yu-Gi-Oh in terms of like the Zodiac mirror match, especially like that early. I can't really like fault anyone. It was just like super undefined, and like all the tricks were just not there.
Mm-hmm. Next event after that was, I believe, Atlanta.
That was Atlanta, yeah. Let me do Atlanta. I have so many fun stories about Atlanta.
Did you go?
Oof. Yeah, I was at Atlanta. I had like a nice string of just playing every event, except for Seattle. But Atlanta was like, we showed up.
Before you go into Atlanta really quick, there was a ban list at this point, right?
Sorry. No, there wasn't.
Because Magicians came back at the start of the year, didn't they?
No?
Like they brought back Wisdom Eye to 3 and then Joker to...
I'm like 99% sure we didn't have a ban list. We didn't have a ban list until after Prague, because I remember when we were in Prague, and I was at like your hotel, and we're just like, oh, there's a ban list, and like Kieran's banned, and like all this stuff is dead.
Okay.
Right? That sounded about right?
Yeah, so like that must have been the first one.
Yeah, I think that was the first one with Zoo in the format.
All right, go on. So Atlanta.
No one anticipated like Paleozoic, right? Which ended up winning the event. Shout out to Corey Roca. And then the other thing that came out of that event was the Fusion Substitute deck, which was apparently like on people's radars. I got told about it Friday night. I didn't have a chance to test it, and I was really mad that I didn't, obviously, because it's insane. But
for which event?
For Atlanta.
Well, it was played in Prague already, though.
Prague was after Atlanta.
Prague was after Atlanta.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, like Jeff and like everyone from that area were trying to keep it a secret, but I know a lot of the Florida guys were talking about it. One of the judges had told me about it. It was just insane. Like I think that was probably the biggest issue with Zoo, like the fusion sub combos. Like they were all playing 1. I don't think anyone was playing 2 at that event. But just even with 1, like because everyone was so new to it, the turns would just take so long, just unnecessarily long. So like you'd have a deck playing traps, and then you'd have the fusion sub deck, and now you just have like matches that just go to time because no one's like well versed enough to figure it out.
What happened to you at that event?
Huh?
What happened to you at that event?
I lost to Kaiju Zoo because I was playing like anti-Zoo, and he goes Slumber, and my sets are like Sanctum, Strike, and then Apocrypha, and he just kills me with a 3300 Kaiju. And then I lost to Invoked in time because he draws, sets a trap. I have to do damage. He draw phase, flips Call for Scythe, and I lose. And then I lose to the Fusion sub deck, like round 9 or 10. And yeah, that was pretty gross.
I mean, that's around the time where Zoom errors were not that great, I think.
Oh, they were. It was really bad.
Yeah.
I thought my deck was really good in the mirror match. I had like all the cool cards. I was maining like Apocryphas, like had all the mirror forces and like all the stuff that I just thought, hey, this is like how Yu-Gi-Oh should be, right? They're summoning a guy and I'm trading.
They open double sub though.
Yeah, true. Well, like this is assuming that no one was playing sub, right? It was just so unknown.
Yeah,
and then I just get paired. I get paired into like one of the 15 people playing the deck, and then he just like draws and looks at his hand and just ends with like 12 cards. I'm just confused,
Confused. I think mechanically.
There might have been an ARG where someone was playing sub. Actually, someone brought up that there were ARGs. I'm pretty sure that there was an ARG the week of release where people were playing all the cool stuff like Fossil Dino. I think I remember it was like
Fossil Dino?
I also remember knowing about Fusion Sub. I think I played it at some regionals to test it.
Yeah. It was just something where it just popped up.
Yeah.
But people didn't know the combo. I think like the combo just became known like that weekend where like it was just publicized. I had people sending me like messages saying, hey, like there's this combo that draws you this many cards and you end with the same board and you just have to play 2 bad cards in your deck. I'm like, wow, this sounds great. Sign me up. Already played Garnet for the last 2 years. But.
I think mechanically, like before Fusion Sub, Zoo is actually like one of the better tier 0 decks we've had in terms of like help for the game and stuff. It was like, and like you mentioned yourself, like this is what Yu-Gi-Oh feels like. You're trading back and forth with 1-for-1s and like your traps and stuff. That felt like actual Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah,
some of the other Zoo decks, other Zoo formats were better. Like when Terror Top went, like Terror Top and Fusion Sub were gone. It was better. I think that was like the era where Zoo formats was just like whoever went first.
Was that with Master Rule that you're talking about?
No, not with Master Rule.
Okay.
He's talking like the WCQ.
Master Rule was fine too. Master Rule Zoo was fine too, I think. Like that's also fine.
Master
matter.
Rule was fine. Yeah, it was kind of neat. I like playing Breakers in that format, but we also just like spent way too long learning all the combos and just sitting there and ending with boards that we shouldn't be ending with under Master Rule. Enjoyed it. I had people just sit next to me and say, "You're cheating. You can't end with that. You can only have one extra deck monster." I'm like, probably.
So Josh, the next major event then is Prague. Tell us about your journey there and how you tested, what conclusions you drew, and all that kind of good stuff.
Well, like I said earlier, whenever I played Zoo, I just didn't like the mirror very much because Fusion Sub would just make it so whoever went first kind of just won. So we tried solving it, and we did with Paleo, where Bohdan just laughed at me at the start of YCS Prime.
No, I didn't. No, I didn't. I was testing that deck. I convinced the other 2 Australians to play your deck, and we put like Xyz Universe and a bunch of other disgusting cards in there, but that's only because we're ignorant. So.
Well, yeah, Prague went pretty well.
Yeah, you won.
It must be nice.
There was like a strange abundance of like Infernoid decks at that event as well.
Yeah, well, I think everyone sucked except for Billy and Jawad, or Jawad.
Jawad? What the hell?
Jawad. I'm thinking of JY, I'm like, fuck. Now I'm just racist. Yeah, like every other Infernoid deck that I saw was just terrible, and I'm watching like Jawad like not even activate Grass and just like summon Terratop, end with the field, and like Void. What is it? Void Imagination? No, Void Imagination. The one that searches a trap. Vanish.
Void Madness.
And just do that. Yeah. And he would just end with like the nuts, and I'm like, shit. This is because I was testing that before Atlanta, and I'm like, this has to be the best deck, right? I get to end with Emerald Dryden, Decatron. It's a jet. Like this is insane. I know it wasn't, but like I just kept seeing him do it. Like obviously Billy's deck like was a Billy deck. It was just a pile of cards, and it's
a pile of cards.
No, it really was.
It if you look at the list, it was a pile of cards. Yes.
It just happened to be 60.
Yeah, pretty much. The
It's so
numbers added
strange.
up.
Like I've on it. Like Billy's like such a fucking like insane player, but I've never like enjoyed like really any of his lists. Infernoid one included. But yeah, who am I? It's whatever.
Yeah.
No, I enjoyed the emptiness out of 43 and the Denko, like the 2 Denkos. Yeah.
Shout out to 2016. So next up, after Prague, I guess we get the first major ban list of 2017. I think it's probably quite surprising that they hit Zoo that soon. I mean, there's so many points to mention about this ban list. I'll bring it up on screen just now so everyone can take a look.
The hit was so weak, though. Like, it was... Oh, there was... I'm pretty sure there was also, like, a YCS... the weekend of Prague. I think it was Guatemala, and there was also the UDS, right? And like I think we can talk about like the just sort of the differences between those 3 events, because I'm pretty sure Josh won with Paleo, and the finals was Paleo versus Infernoid Zoo. Joey won the UDS with a more standard Zoo deck. He was just siding like pretty heavily for Paleo because obviously Atlanta had won the week before, and I think his finals was against Paleo, or it might have been against some other shitty deck. Actually, no. There was like another shitty Paleo deck that I think had lost in the top 8. And then Guatemala, I'm gonna check now because I'm pretty sure that was the other event that was during that sort of weird weekend where we just had 3 events for no reason.
After the so just going over some of the important hits here. Slumber
Which
slowly.
ban list is that?
Sorry.
Yeah, which ban list is that? Yeah.
This is straight after Prague.
Kieran banned, right? Yeah, it's like Kieran. And then the
Kieran
rest.
and Emptiness band, Max C to 1,
Yeah.
Imperial Order to 1, Wisdom Eye to 2, and Rat to 2 were like the main ones. Slumber to 2 as well.
Yeah.
Oh, that was like the one that just didn't really matter. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well,
All the combos were still there, and yeah.
so I was one of those who assumed that if Rat went to like anything less than 3, then the deck was unplayable. How wrong was I?
Oh yeah.
But it was the deck was still like insane. Like they still had their best cards in the whole like archetype, like Broad Bull Trident, like those are just insane. Any zoo becomes any other zoo. So the deck was obviously still really strong for long to come after this. Between March and June, so with the NAWC, I'm assuming that was ran with the June list, right? So we'll get to that after, I think. Was there any other major events after March?
I'm gonna check now, but I'm pretty sure we
It's
had
Nationals, right?
like one. Yeah, it was national season, and there was what looked to be another YCS or 2.
It could have.
So you had YCS Denver, which I'm pretty sure was under the new list. You had YCS Columbia, and then like YCS Pittsburgh. That was during April and May. But I'm pretty sure the April gap for Denver and Columbia was pre Maximum Crisis,
So nationals,
which is relatively huge. I think only some nationals were pre Maximum Crisis.
No, we had like most of them were after. Yeah.
Most of them. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I know mine was. So I think it sounds about right. I think it was like May-ish, right? Because I think May was the beginning of May is when everything came out for that deck.
May 4th was Maximum Crisis, and then most of the European nationals.
Like most European nationals are in May or after.
Yeah.
Start May, yeah.
Yeah, mine was in June. I think they capped off at like June something, right?
Yeah, I know German nationals were like I think end of May, maybe start of June, something like that.
Yeah, that sounds about right. So I think the YCS Denver results, the only thing that sort of like kind of stood out was what was it? People said everyone was cheating. Like other than that, I don't think anything was relevant.
I don't have anything to do with that.
Which was that was kind of weird. But I guess Infernoid just like did more things, kinda. That's the whole idea.
I never liked Infernoids, but yeah.
But like the whole concept is they're all dragon rulers, right? Like everything that you summon,
yeah, just worse.
Banished to some. Oh, of course, like definitely was, but just the fact that you get to summon big guys for relatively no cost is kind of appealing.
It's kind of
You're grinding a lot at this point, Josh, because obviously the world's points and stuff are Like, you're trying to.
Oh
slowly
yeah, I
accumulate
had like
those.
regionals every fucking weekend. I hated it. It was also terrible. It was also terrible because like nationals were so important because the point distribution was just absurd.
Yeah.
Where like
yeah, if only they
got-
had the YCS point distribution they have now for you
Oh,
back
yeah.
then, it would have been
I
fine.
would have been so fine. Like the
Wouldn't
only
have had to
problem
have
was
trapped.
like I got like 32 points for winning YCS Prague, and like
Yeah.
a few weeks before Alpay gets like 34 for winning a regional in Cologne, where I didn't even go because I didn't know
Yeah.
about the points. Like, cool.
I think the
So-
idea that Konami wanted to have initially was, okay, we want people to go out there and play locally and with their like local areas and friends and stuff, instead of having the big fixation on the bigger events. But you know, I can understand where they're coming from. But obviously, like a bigger event, like it's crazy that you can win a YCS and not get get the same amount of points as like a regional. It's kind of
Well, also like
absurd.
just like nationals were like 128 points, like 4 times but YCS, but it's so much easier.
yeah.
Just an unnecessary amount.
So onto
It's
the
ridiculous.
So the Denver was won by, what was his name again?
Inferno
It was
Andy.
Furman, right?
No, Furman won Pittsburgh. I think Pittsburgh was the first event that used the Draco deck. Because you guys didn't have an event because of national season, right? You guys just had like
We just had Prague and then
everything
like
come at the
Nats
tail
and
end,
Euros.
right?
That was it.
Yeah, we always have like one YCS early, then all the nationals, no YCS. So yeah.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Thank
Well,
you.
Furman won with Draco Zoo, which
And
was
he won,
pretty
and
cool,
2
I
buys.
guess.
And two
Yeah,
buys.
that too. And that
With
too.
he used 2 buys in a Draco Zoo deck. That's what.
Well, he didn't use two buys. He always has them, so it's like permanent two buys. It's not like an ARG circa like 2015, but close enough.
Yeah, so thoughts on the Draco Zoo deck?
I thought it was great. I remember talking to him about we were using what is it? There was like a random Australian regionals where this guy was playing Forstrix and Zephyrs, and I
Oh,
remember
yeah.
we were like, this is insane. Like the whole combo was just great. You get to end with just everything from Rat Diagram, and like it was more than everything. Like I think obviously towards the end of it, you figured out you didn't have to play Zephyrs,
Yeah.
but it like opened up another combo later. So I can't really remember. Like with Fusion Sub, we figured out that it just let you end with like the whole world. You could just keep going. It's great.
Yeah.
That was also, I think, maybe, I'm not 100% sure, around the time that Hoban won a ARG with True King Zoo?
I think that was like
No, I don't
shortly
think
after.
so.
Hoban definitely played like a True King variant. Or
Yeah,
something.
but I don't think he
No,
won.
he didn't win. No, he topped. I remember he
Oh,
topped
okay.
because Jared Stern had been like playing it at a UK locals or something, and it was on. I think I think it was Jason or someone that showed me it, and then I topped like some shitty regionals. Not shitty. The store's great, but I topped some bad regionals with it. And then like I posted the list on your channel, and I think they started like testing it and making it not 60 cards or 53 cards, whatever I fucking had it at. Which was kind of cool, I guess. That deck was kind of fun.
No, I feel like that's where we had like a kind of a triangle format between
Yeah.
regular Zoo, Draco Zoo, and just regular Draco.
You just have to find the nice mid ground where.
Yeah, I don't think True King Zoo was ever a really
we
good deck. I just think it was just goofy. But
It got to do a lot of cool things, whereas like the
Yeah.
other decks is sort of like linear.
it
Everyone
was
wants to
just
play
kinda
a
like-
deck that
it was
does,
kinda
like
like-
50 fucking things, but
True Draco would always beat on Zoo, kind of. And but Draco Zoo would totally wreck Draco,
yeah.
kind of.
A lot of people didn't really figure out True Draco Zoo for like a significant period of time.
Well, there
Like,
was not that
I
much
think
to
the
figure
next
out. I don't
event.
think I never really liked it that much, but it was good against Draco. It was a lot better against Draco than normal Zoo.
Yeah.
But it was just less consistent than Pure Zoo. That's why Pure Zoo was
Well,
like more favored against it, because you could also
the
fit
early
all the
iterations were just so like streamlined though. They weren't playing Dynamite. They weren't playing Ignis. They were only playing like a really small package of Draco
Oh yeah,
cards.
you definitely had to like.
and they just
dip
wanted
into-
to summon Masterpiece. So
I remember talking to you about that. I think actually where we talked about how much Draco you actually put into your Zoo deck.
like we just wanted to play the smallest amount because they
Yeah.
just seemed like bricks, right?
Yeah.
Whoops. Maybe we made
Yeah.
a mistake. maybe the best cards
I
were
personally
Ignis
think
and Dynamite.
looking back, I think the best two decks were just either pure Zoo or pure Draco. I didn't really like the mixture of it. I think
Pure Draco just had so many, well, not so many, but it just had like a lot of issues with it, whereby if you like enter an event, you just had these other matchups that were just unfavorable.
This is after the June list, though, right?
I don't know how. Yeah, of course.
Okay, right.
Oh no, not after the June list. This is the WCQ
It kind of applies
list.
to both formats, I think.
Yeah. Because you could play it in Fusion Sub as well.
Yeah, it kind of worked in both formats.
Yeah. But
Like
I think
Pure Draco?
I remember Alpay was picking second, and it was just terrible.
Oh yes, he lost to me at
Like,
Euros.
yeah, like just the fact that you would pick second versus sub, and then they would, well, like not even at
It was
Euros,
mainly-
right? Like
the funny thing about
during
it-
German nationals, right?
Oh yeah, that too. But no, they were playing at German Nationals. He was playing pure Draco,
Yeah.
and then he was picking second. Yeah.
That was like the one that like weirded me out. Just the fact that going second with no hand traps in your deck,
Mm-hmm.
and
he did.
then like you have to break their board, and if
Yeah.
they're just playing like hand traps like Urga Ash, like whatever, they're just gonna destroy you the following time.
Oh, yeah,
even
that-
though
that did,
usually wasn't the case, but it seemed like it happened more often than not in that portion of the format.
Oh yeah, in Fusion sub format, I agree. I think it was wrong in that format. Yeah.
But then
But, like-
afterwards, I thought it was just insane. I
Well,
thought
afterwards, it was good.
great.
I did that for Vice's Rimini, and it was great with Draco.
I definitely liked it.
Yeah.
Really sad that Paleo wasn't relevant because Draco was a thing, and it's
Yeah,
so
but that's just
weak
how it
to
is
Masterpiece.
with this kind of deck. It's just like,
Well, didn't you won the LA regionals, right?
oh yeah, I won that. Yeah.
that was a pretty big stepping stone. That
It
basically
was
locked
like
you.
it was. I flew there for a weekend to just secure my world spot because I needed like 50 more points to be safe. So Alpay couldn't get me at Euros.
50?
So no 50.
Oh wow, that's quite a lot.
And like I remember in Seattle, I played pure Draco. I went like X2. I lost to Asala and Billy, which is like stupid. And then on the night, I just wasn't sure what to play. And I said like, fuck it, I'm gonna play Paleo. I enjoyed that the most. I just went 10-0. Yeah.
So for the ban list in June, Norden got banned,
Yeah,
which
finally.
I think honestly, like conceptually for the game, is probably for the best.
Yeah.
Terratop got limited.
Yeah.
It's probably
That
for
was
the
also
best as
great.
well.
Yeah.
Grass.
Sad face.
I feel like it should just be banned altogether, but I guess with left arm it makes
that
it
card either has to exist at 3 or not exist at all. That's probably the best way to look at it.
Well, the way I look at it is like it's really unlikely that you would draw the one grass anyway. But when you're
Well,
forced
not even that. It seems like a card that only exists to keep other stuff in check, which it did. And like
Does it really
when it's
though?
at 1, it seems kind of redundant. Well, like it lets you play those decks, right?
those
Especially
decks.
during Zoo format, those decks were like pretty good against Zoo. Snow was pretty powerful. The Paleo deck was pretty powerful. Like I don't know. There was a lot of stuff that you could do.
Grass is like kind of weird for me because like when it came out, I kind of felt like this card is just terrible for the game because you're gonna play 60 card decks which are supposed to be inconsistent and they are supposed to only work when you draw grass, and that just makes it so much more like variance based. But then in my Paleo deck, I just really like the deck for the game. I just really like the games that I had with Paleo, and the deck didn't rely on grass at all. While other decks like Infernoid or Lightsworn, I think they are not really healthy because they are kind of dumb. But Paleo wasn't, so it's like if grass would only exist in these kind of decks, I would like it, but it doesn't.
You
so
got
I
to
think
play
it's
the
fine.
game, and
Yeah.
you got to play grass. So if you resolve grass, then I guess it just works out, right?
I mean, it wasn't even that sick in Paleo. It was just
Oh,
a
of
decent
course,
card.
but like,
wasn't it?
just more so the fact that you could draw it, and it
Oh, yeah.
wasn't like it wasn't a card that you had to base your deck around.
Yeah, that was the great thing about the Paleo deck. I think the Paleo deck was just really, really good Yu-Gi-Oh. I think the games that I had with Paleo were the best games of Yu-Gi-Oh I've had pretty much in any event ever. But like, grass unfortunately does not only exist in Paleo. So I think ultimately it's still a problem. So I think it's fine.
Where did I have it? There it is. And for the rest of the ban list, it was essentially bringing Pendulum back into the fray, which I guess was pretty fucking redundant with like Master Rule 4 for a while anyway, at least. But
Well, it
get to
became
that
relevant
eventually.
later on, so
Yeah. So Joker, Wisdom Eye, and Pendulum caught all back to 3. I thought Joker was really surprising. Like, I don't think anyone was surprised because Magician was slowly being put up, and then they just went like Joker 3 like instantly. Which was...
I think that was just because of the Master Rule. They were like, okay, we kill Pendulum anyways, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
and they released the Pendulum set as well, and
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they realized that it's a set that probably wasn't gonna sell because Zoo is the best deck, and they're like, well, if we just put these cards to this, maybe people will play it.
I mean,
And they
ultimately,
did, which is just great.
I think it's not a bad decision game wise either. I think the Magician deck.
I think it was fine.
Like,
I thought
just
it was
imagine the Magician deck without cards. It wouldn't have ever been touched again. So
exactly. We wouldn't have sold any deck cores at YugiOhSingles.com.
We talked a lot about True Draco Zoo and Pure Draco, but just to quickly wrap up like the sort of mid-season, not really mid-season, I guess near the end of the season events like the NAWCQ and Euros.
Well, Euros was first, right? It went Euros, then Euros, then like Central and South. There was like Oceanics, and then the end was NAWCQ.
So those two events together were really strange because Euros was Top Cut was dominated and won by Pure Zoo, and then the following 2 weeks later at NAWCQ, Top Cut was dominated and won by Draco Zoo. So it's really strange how they sort of like swapped places that way. I mean, I don't have anything else to say. I just find that like I don't know why. Like, explain to me like why that was the case.
I feel like places? The European, like the Zoo versus True Drake. Like, well, I don't think it was swap places because I don't think True Draco Zoo was like actually represented at Euros at all, especially not in like the form that it was in at the NAWCQ.
Yeah,
I think that's just because it was straight up worse.
Kinda. I don't know. I just feel like Zoo had gotten to the point. At Euros where you couldn't really go anywhere else. You know what I mean? Like the Marcello list was sort of just like where everyone wanted to be at, right?
Oh, yeah.
You only had a couple of cards that you would change. Everyone was on the Shuffle Reborns on the other stuff, and it's just like, well, how do we beat this Zoo deck that is just made for Zoo, right? You don't want to play a 40-card mirror match of a deck that just doesn't have any real mid-ground in terms of like playing outside of your opponent being an idiot.
To be honest, I think the answer to that was not Draco Zoo. I think the answer to that would have been Pure Draco.
But then at that point, isn't it just more reasonable to play this True Draco Zoo deck that can beat normal Zoo and has like a pretty good matchup against Pure Draco?
Well, but the thing is like, the way the triangle works is that Zoo beats Draco Zoo beats Draco, and Draco beats Zoo.
I don't know. I feel like when the deck evolved into more Draco cards, then it sort of just had a better Zoo matchup. Like, you were able to go first and second, and you'd have cards like Dynamite and Ignis, or you just have like Masterpiece, right? You get to break their board and summon the Dryden and summon like the potential Emerald or whatever. Like,
well, if
people
it was
that
easy, then yeah, but it wasn't.
It really, I thought it really was. Like, that deck was just insane. Like, I don't know. I don't think you can deny it. Like, the NAWCQ is just so big, right? And then just looking at the results of that deck alone and how many made top cut and how it was just interacting with Pure Zoo. Like, it was on our radar, but we just never had testing against the build, like the one that Furman and like Chester and all those guys were playing. Because we were sitting there and like, okay, well, how do we beat True Draco Zoo? We had like a bunch of cards for it, but then they would just go like play spell, summon Ignis, summon Dynamite, and you're just like, well, now what do I do? Like, I can't beat them summoning that, and I can't beat them summoning Dryden. Like, obviously the deck is just like kind of worse just because you're playing a bunch of cards that don't really interact with the rest of your deck, but it just did a lot more, which is something that Zoo couldn't deal with half the time.
Well, Zoo could also
like more things.
Did a lot more tech cards, which helped them beat it. Like beat exactly that. Like,
I think like as well for Zoo at that point, we were ending our turn one with Hammer Kong, Ram, a Shaka 9 with like 2 charges or 1 charge, and then like a Dryden. I think it's like, yeah, that was like the norm. Because I saw Asala do it on stream, but he was the only person who I saw do it. But that was like the one that we figured was like the best thing in the mirror match. We wouldn't end with Emerald. We wouldn't end with any of the dumb stuff.
Oh yeah,
Just, like,
I almost considered cutting Emerald for Euros.
Yeah. We just thought that was like the go-to. And obviously it just doesn't work out because everyone else is still summoning Emerald and they're still getting to make their board. So it doesn't really matter like what you're ending with. But that just played around like all the econs, all the dumb stuff. You sort of had like ways to beat Shuffle Reborn as well. I think a lot of people were playing stuff like when we were playing like Floodgate Trap Hole, like that was like NAWCQ, that was our tech. And then I know Polo, the guy from I'm gonna say Brazil, and I'm just gonna hate myself because he's not from that. He was playing Canadia in his deck as well, like more cards that just interacted on the summon that you could like not play into Shuffle Reborn with. Okay. Which I thought was really nice. Yeah. But obviously like Econ just answers that. Econ just destroys that.
Yeah.
Was the idea there to block up the extra monster zone, or am I too ahead?
No, that was before the rule.
Too far ahead.
Right.
Before the rule.
Okay.
After the rule, it was like a lot more straightforward.
There wasn't like after Master Rule 4 came out, we didn't really have anything big, other than Worlds, obviously. Right?
Yeah.
There wasn't any like major
Pretty
events.
Much. There was like LLDS qualifiers and like 2 shitty YCSs.
Was Worlds was played under Master Rule? No, it wasn't actually.
It was.
It was.
Was it? Oh, okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Well, now that we finished the...
Well, Josh was there.
Yeah, I know. So now that we finished the national season, I guess Josh tells a little bit about World's preparation. Obviously, like you made it there for the second time, which is a fucking achievement in and of itself. But yeah, like...
it doesn't count. Fake qualification.
Fake qualification.
Yeah.
But yeah, how was the journey to Worlds to like in terms of like preparing for the deck? Obviously you worked a lot on it with Marcello, because he made it from Italy, and Euros as well, which is insane. Yeah. But you guys decided to play Draco. Was it pure Draco?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, there was no Zeus, so
good deck. I thought it was the correct choice.
I'm not sure.
I was never playing Dino,
options.
But...
it was like Yang Zing. Dino Zing. Dino Yang Zing, right?
Really good.
Basically, the way we approached the format, we knew immediately there was Draco and Dino were supposed to be the best decks, but we tried out a lot of different stuff first before we settled on any of the two.
Mm-hmm. What kind of crazy shit did you guys try?
Huh?
What kind of crazy stuff did you try before you like went to like Dino and Draco?
Oh, we tried a lot of stuff. We tried mermails.
I'm just trying to get like the memes here. Like, what kind of funny stuff? Like
we tried a lot of super weird stuff. Like, there's more obvious stuff like Invoked or Mermail, like I said, or whatever.
Invoked was just terrible.
It was
just the worst deck I've ever seen.
Yeah,
especially
but we also
in that format as well.
We also like I also tried to create like an anti-meta deck for both Dino and Draco, because Dino had no out to Vanity's Fiend, and Draco had...
you could also just summon Banisher of the Radiance. That was another card we were messing around with, but that seemed kind of cool.
Well, we were trying different stuff like summoning Vanity's Fiend dot deck or like Zombie World dot deck, where we would use like... I would use a Brilliant Fusion to send Christia, and then under Zombie World just Mizuki to bring it back, stuff like that.
Sounds just awful. I'm glad you did that.
It was.
This is the first time I'm hearing of it about this. This is fucking hilarious.
Great.
Well, yeah, we tried a lot of stuff basically, but we came to because the reason why we tried all that stuff was because we didn't like. We knew Dino and Draco were like the best decks, but we didn't like them because the Dino Mirror was just awful. Because whoever went first usually just won. That's the end. That's the reason why we opted against it. But because like you go first. And all the hand traps are just basically gambles because you like Ghost Ogre Diagram. If you have another one, you just lose, or you ash at the wrong thing, but you can't know what is the right thing to ash, stuff like that.
Like you sort of just have to hope for the best.
Like he plays Diagram and you so ash gross. It, and like if
the diagram's still there, you have to have a way to kill the diagram.
Yeah, it's like the Dino Mirror was just awful. But the Draco Mirror was not that great either at Worlds, I think. Like, Draco is supposed to be a fairly skillful deck, but it's, like, weird. And then So basically, Draco would be able to beat Dino because Draco didn't really have a problem with beating Danglong openings because like the counter trap can only beat spell and trap card activations, but not the things engraved, so you can just pop it. Stuff like that. But so we ended up being like, okay, if we play against a lot of Dino, we just want to be playing Draco. But if we play against a lot of Draco, we just want to be playing Dino. Because Dino against Draco, you can just let them start and just break any board they make. It doesn't matter because the Michelano in hand was just so good. You can just discard and then you can do whatever you want. It doesn't matter. You just go like Black Rose, blow up the entire thing, whatever. You don't care. So
I don't know. Like I feel like they were kind of ending crazier boards than I had anticipated there.
Who?
Like
Dino?
the diner, yeah.
No, they did exactly what we expected. Because I talked to a lot of OCG players in the time. I was like, what do they do with Dino? They do exactly they did exactly what we expected. They always went for like
because I know I think Roland was like the only person that just like well, like obviously besides the OCG players that had been playing it the whole time.
Yeah, I have no idea how the deck worked. No, like we had both decks figured out, but we were just like, okay, if everyone's playing Dino, we want to be playing Draco. If everyone's playing Draco, we want to be playing Dino. And in the end, we just made the call on Draco.
And you versed all the wrong matchups, and
no, for me it was literally I played against 3 mirror matches and I lost all mirror matches, and I played against 2 dinos and I beat both dinos. So yeah,
okay, that works then. And then Marcello has the opposite.
Yeah, Marcello had it like different. He went like 3-1-1 with like only 2 mirror matches or something. I don't know exactly, but like for me it was literally just like
right.
if I would have picked it the other way around, probably would have worked the other way around. But yeah.
Do you feel like the addition of the Link set, Call of the Duelist, would have made Worlds format better?
What was in there exactly?
Spiral, Double Helix.
Well, like none of the 2 decks can make Firewall.
Oh, am I tripping? No. Firewall Dragon, and I guess that's about it.
Firewall doesn't do anything.
Oh, Trickstars.
Right? The only Trickstar, maybe.
I don't know if Trickstar would have made a difference. I don't think so.
Trickstar, World Chalice.
Or maybe World Chalice.
Probably not, right? You don't have all the good stuff.
What do you miss?
The good stuff. I don't know. Like everything relevant.
Some relevant extra deck cards, I believe.
No, I don't think World Chalice would have been a bad call, actually. Maybe not. I'm not sure.
Nah.
So anyway, after Worlds, Code Duels comes around.
Was there.
Is there I feel like Spiral was good before Double Helix a little bit. Was it?
Boygan played it a lot, but it sucked. It was terrible.
I can't. What even was the meta for Code of Duelist?
Like,
it was like nothing. Well, it was nothing really. There was just no meta.
It was Mrs. Radiant deck.
Oh, it was Pendulum Magician. It was Magicians, right?
You mean after Zoo got hit, right? Yeah, it was.
Yeah. Oh, we should probably talk about that ban list first, I guess. The September list.
Yeah, true.
I think.
Yeah.
Or let's double check Pendulum Evolution. The release date on that, I believe.
No, that already
Pendulum
came out
Evolution was like June or something.
Euros already.
Oh, okay.
€4.
All right. So Pendulum Evolution comes out, and then we have the ban list after that, which essentially destroyed like so many fucking decks. Like banned like is Emerald, Danglong, Dynamite, Lithosagum, Broadbone Giant. Those are like the relevant hits there, and then like Ignis got hit.
They saw Worlds and they said we have to hit Danglong, which is actually a good hit. I'm glad they did that one because it doesn't have to exist. So.
I'm really sad about that. Like, I really enjoyed playing Zephyra, but whatever.
I like that ban list a lot, except for one thing is that they hit Draco the wrong way around. Just ban Masterpiece.
Yeah.
Like that was the only thing they needed to do.
I quite like Draco mechanically for the game. I thought it was pretty good, other than
like especially Dynamite. Dynamite was like the greatest interaction card that they made in that deck, and just like they banned basically the best card for the game in that deck, and they kept the worst one. So,
Wavering Eyes straight from 0 to 3 was like really kind of just.
I mean, all of it is just because Pendulum Mechanic just basically should have taken a big enough hit from the rule. So.
I'll be satisfied when they bring Face Off to 3, and then I'll be happy. But until then,
I already said
probably be irrelevant. But
I already said about Wavering Eyes that I think maybe it even hurts the deck more than it really helps.
Yeah, because the mirror match just becomes like
because like with the new rule, you can't even use the card offensively very well. Like, you pop 2 of your cards that you can't even summon back because of link rules. Like, cool.
Cool.
Doesn't really do much. The only thing that it does is just make the mirror match like Super 8 most of the time. So.
I know Jeff was really close to not playing it, but the reason he did play it is because a lot of people were playing.
Everyone's just playing Pendulum. So you play it.
That was the only reason.
Yeah.
It just makes way too much sense. It's also why you see people even now just playing like one Pendulum Sorcerer. Like, your cards are free, but they're not that free.
Yeah, because like you pop 2 cards to search 1. That's not that great.
On the flip side, I think it's kind of okay for the game. Like, I don't think it makes the mirror that easy because it like in a sense you've got 6 counters to it with Ash and your own copy of Wavering Sword.
You can't really say that makes a card balanced just because they have outs for it. That was just the card was also busted in the format where you had damage juggler just because they have potential outs.
Yeah, it's like you have to balance.
Didn't you think it was fine in Pepe format? Like,
No.
I think it was fine in like the first Pepe, like the end of 2015 one.
Yeah.
I thought I liked it then.
Like Bosch.
But that was like that format was weird. But I mean, like full power Pepe format, it was completely busted.
Yeah, it was insane.
Because they would go first set up, and you would just go like ice pop their
you
board.
You couldn't break their board because it's set there in Wavering.
So I guess we should probably talk about Master Rule 4 a little bit, since that was basically like probably the highlight of 2017 is like just the complete change of the game. The mechanic is like it's not going to go anywhere, but it was unlike any other mechanic before where like, okay, Xyz monsters are out now. I can just choose not to play an Xyz deck or whatever. It's fine. I can not play Synchro. I cannot play Pendulum. Whereas now,
I don't know, dude. It was shit. Zoo was the best deck. Zoo is still the best deck for like.
No, I mean, like what I'm saying is like the link mechanic is different from the other mechanics because you have to play like with it. Like even if you don't play link monsters, you still have to abide by the rules. So it's unlike anything we've had before.
That's just like anything else, right?
Yeah, right. That doesn't really say anything about
you still have to play by the rules, right?
Well, obviously, I'm not saying you can ignore it, but the idea is that it's completely like changed like the game because now like Pendulum is obviously the main deck that like got fucked by it.
But like everything is supposed to have an impact on the game. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah, but like,
I feel like this was more. Yeah, like you're saying, it's more like oppressive in terms of. Now you actually can't play.
Well, I'm not saying it's good or bad. I'm just saying like decks that spam extra deck monsters, like I don't know, like Burning Abyss, like that, like that's not a viable strategy anymore because like Master, it's a really controversial mechanic because like lots of decks like that rely on multiple extra deck monsters were.
Well, I just think it sort of makes it harder for like the new / old people to come back into the game. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just like long term, it seems like it's something that sort of has to be like eased in. Whereas before, if you leave the game and come back, you're playing like different Yu-Gi-Oh, but you don't have to like you can still play the deck that you were playing before, right? Like you can literally have the same 40 cards, obviously. Not counting a ban list, you can just sit down and play with it. And
but it's still not really gonna work, right? You still have to learn a lot of new stuff. So
of course.
Yeah, so why not just learn?
This one literally just says now you can't do X. Like, why can't I play my Medolce deck? Like, no, you can't. You have to summon a link first. It's like, that's nice.
Yeah, fair enough. But it's like
it just seems less like it seems more impactful on like the casual community because the competitive players are always gonna play, right? They're always gonna play the best deck. They're gonna learn how to play the game. But then all the casual players are just going to say, well, I didn't like Zoo format, but now I also don't like Links because I don't get to play my cool deck that summons 57 dudes in one turn once every 100 games. You know?
Yeah, it did kill a lot of stuff. That's fair to say. However, looking back at it, I do like it. I think it gives the game a little bit more like complexity about like positioning and stuff. I do enjoy that.
Do you like it, Bohdan? Are you a fan of the rule overall?
I guess like there's nothing you can do, right? Like it's past that point now.
Well, yeah, obviously, but I mean, just overall, like, do you think conceptually
you can still
it's a
say
good
if you like to change or not?
But I just haven't. It hasn't been around like long enough for me to really give like a definitive answer. I think it's fine, but it obviously it's gonna have its like problems, especially with all the new stuff coming out. I don't think it had to exist. But I feel like this is their answer to something that's like too far gone. You know what I mean? Like they can't start from scratch and just like wipe the ban list and just build it again. This is just like the giant like sticker that they stick on top of it and say, okay, this is fixed now.
I would be more happy with Master Rule if we got a lot more legacy support in link forms, like faster, because it would be nice to have like, you know, being able to play these old decks.
I mean, they're doing it slowly, but
yeah, they are, which is good. But at the same time, I feel like a lot of them are badly designed. Like for example, the Lightsworn Link monster is actually not even good in Lightsworn. It's better in other decks. Like the Crystron, like that thing, like is broken.
Yeah, that's a whole other debate. But
like, So I just think like that they were quite badly designed. But I think if we get more legacy support for links, I'll be pretty happy with it overall.
I thought that in the beginning, but not really. I think it's just. I'm still like a big fan of the idea of a generic Link 1 that points down, right? Because then all the cards, so like cards like Levier now are like kind of just irrelevant, right? Because you can't summon Levier first, and then like make another play alongside it. So I want more cards that sort of like maybe like not like you need to ban Invoker if you do something like this, but just like I want to be able to go Levier, summon a card. Link with the Levier pointing down, and then make another card. You know what I mean? Like I think that would be kind of. But
even just generic Link 2s don't exist currently. Like the Starboy.
There's a generic Link 2 that's coming out next set or next starter deck, structure deck.
But that's the thing. That's like 8 months after the introduction of Link, which I think is too slow.
But like it's still these kind of things on the Link rule. They are really broken. Like a generic Link 1 is kind of broken.
I think you need to like well obviously you just don't ignore like the ban list or formats, right? But just the fact that you would be able to make a play and then link it for a Link 1 that doesn't have to do anything. It just has to point down and say nothing else. Then like you get to do like an additional play. I think that fixes some issues.
At that point it doesn't really the thing doesn't really impact anything. You can just do the same stuff you could have done before. Pretty much.
That's like the aim, right?
Is it?
I like the idea of people just being able to still sort of play like old Yu-Gi-Oh. Like this will still limit you. Obviously, you only do one of the things that you were doing before, but now you get to do it while also setting up. So like,
but you also have more options. You can also do like links.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, we'll links do just. They kind of do like prevent old Yu-Gi-Oh from happening, but I think that's what they're supposed to do.
Yeah. But even just like the generic one just seems like it would be okay in a format where you can't just summon 50 Link cards. You know what I mean?
I don't think that format will ever exist again though. Like I think if you because links are so generic, if you can just summon a few things, like, you can do anything.
So moving on into the Circuit Break era. This is Raging Tempest brought us a tier 0 format, and somehow for the set like tier 0 used to be something that was fairly rare that would happen every couple years or something, and now the power creep or whatever you want to call it has come to the point where we're getting like a tier 0 deck per set almost. And Circuit Break saw the release of Double Helix, which turned the Spyro deck from kind of a gimmicky sort of combo deck into this unreal fucking beast that just did everything and anything turn 1.
Yeah.
I guess we probably just talk about the archetype as a whole just now. I was talking about this a lot in like videos and stuff. I think like Spyro is probably like it embodies everything wrong with the game. First turn unbreakable boards, untargetable monsters, like no hard once per turn effects, just everything that's like floating, like all these like mechanics just piled into one deck, and it just did all of it. It's like crazy. Do you guys? I mean, do you guys like the deck, like for the game, like conceptually?
Not really, I guess.
Well, the first Spiral, like YCS London Spiral, I think was terrible.
Oh yeah, it was just absolutely disgusting.
YCS Prague was alright, I think. personally.
I think once people figured out that the going second deck was a thing, it sort of got a little bit better because you actually just had like another dynamic thrown into the works that was pretty relevant, right?
To be
Like,
fair,
if
though, that deck
people are building their decks incorrectly, then
the go second was just not a thing for London. It was just not possible with triple quick fix, triple drone, triple machine tube. You just couldn't do it. I mean, we tried.
Yeah.
Didn't Marcelo do it?
He did it at YCS in America. Yeah.
Oh, right. Yeah. That's really weird. Like, I just can't imagine how you can go second with that full power
I mean,
deck.
it can work. It's like it's not super bad. It's not unimaginable, but it's not consistent if you're going up against triple quick fix, triple machine dupe and stuff.
Yeah,
No, they just have more ways to combo than you have hands. So
yeah,
you just
especially
can't break
also
their
like,
boards, like...
cherries is just not as good because you can like cherries their helix, but they can still go off into like multiple stuff if they just have dupli and stuff.
There's one thing I forgot to mention as well when we were talking about the sets. Chronologically, Maximum Crisis saw the release of Ash Blossom, which was like,
oh yeah,
like even fucking hand traps are getting power creep these days. Like that card.
I mean, Ash is kind of fair though. It's like,
yeah, to an extent. Mm-hmm.
It can negate a lot of stuff.
Especially during like the format where it came out as well. I felt like it wasn't as insane as it is now. Like now you just have to play it. But back then you could justify not main decking it.
Yeah. But personally,
kind of crazy to think about that.
I personally am a fan of it because it's not like Maxi where it either like Maxi, because Maxi most of the time just wins you the game, but sometimes in certain matchups it just sucks. Because that also happens with Maxi, or if you draw it too late, it can just suck. But Ash is just an overall like decent
Ash
card.
Always,
like I'm not saying like, of course Ash is
it stops you from getting destroyed. It's probably the best way to look at it.
Ash is something you have to play everywhere, which is kind of a bad thing. But on the other hand, it's just like it just negates a card one for one. It's like it's fine, right? It's not. Terrible.
Well, considering all the cards that it like interacts with is just so powerful on their own, I feel like it's kind of necessary. It keeps enough stuff in check, but
I mean, just
and the games aren't the games aren't dictated by who draws more Ash Blossoms. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, no, it's not
like, which I think is like pretty good.
Yeah,
compared to like he drew Maxi into Maxi turn after turn. It's like, well, now I can't play. I either had to have him or I gave him too many cards, and he just
the thing is
kills
like
me.
if your deck can't play through Ash, your deck kind of sucks, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Anyways, like even Spiral, that's like the one thing. Spiral was so focused on double helix that even though it was the best deck by far, it was not really a good deck in itself. Because if your opponent had one Ash on helix, your deck just kind of did nothing.
Is this after the ban list?
Oh yeah, especially after the ban list. Before it was different because like dupe and stuff, but like after, it was the best deck, but it was not like. I don't think it was super broken just because if you didn't make helix, you didn't do anything. It was not a balanced deck.
So November was one of the lightest ban lists we've ever had. There was only
Quick Fix Drone.
Quick Fix Drone. I was really sad to see set rotation go. I think some people are on the fence about this. Some people say it's like quite unhealthy for the game, and some people say it's like really good and creative. I personally really like set rotation.
I personally think it's cool as long as there's no top tier deck that plays field spells, it's fine.
Yeah.
Because as soon as everyone's playing field spells, everyone's playing set rotation and fucking Gateway to Chaos, and there's just so much more variance. Because sometimes you draw Gateway to Chaos and it's just terrible, but you have to play it. But in the other games, you have 6 or 9 field spells in your deck, and your opponent gives you Gateway, and you have like
I have a
9
funny story
cards.
about set rotation.
Yeah.
You guys need to hear this story. It's great. I played the iPhone X tournament that we had in New Zealand, and in top 8, game 1 I win with the going second deck. Game 2, my opponent set rotations me, and he gives me Oracle of Zephyr. This is when set rotation's at 1.
At 1.
Set rotation before the Zephyr, and then my hand is just dead. It's like evenly matched something. I can't play a field spell, and I lose. And then game 3, the exact same thing happens, and I have no way to like out the fucking Oracle of Zephyr I'm given.
Does he
so
have,
it's definitely like it's definitely dumb. Like
was it a 60 card deck as well?
Awkward. It was like 45.
Oh, okay. 45. Drew it both games.
I was tight. I was very sad.
That's like the universe's way of saying you should buy an Android, not an iPhone.
Pretty much.
Gofu to 1. I think Gofu is like, it's just really annoying because it's like, I don't know why they kept it to 1. Is it for Black Queen players
I
or
don't think
something?
it's.
Or
I don't think it's as bad as people make it
No,
out
I
to
think
be,
it's
especially in
yeah.
the spiral deck. I think it's perfectly
I
reasonable.
don't know, man. I think like it's a 1 card out to anything. Like, well, obviously,
Yeah,
you know,
but
That's like okay, right?
That's so bad.
Yeah.
but like no, but it's so versatile. Like you can give yourself extra zones. You can like clear a
Yeah,
like
but what's so bad about a good card?
because
Yeah, I like
there's no
every time I
restrictions
draw a
on
Girth,
it at all. There's like
You're
no
never
restrictions.
gonna win a game
yeah,
with Gofu.
you really are. Like every time I draw the card, I just think underwhelming.
Well, just think about if
Especially
you're
at, like,
going second
certain
with
points in
Spiral,
the game
right?
as
Because like
well.
that's what people are doing now, right?
Yeah.
The blinding second with Spiral. If you draw like the Gofu, like you are in probably like a really like
No, it's not the
No,
defining
really.
card.
You
You're like,
have
okay,
to be
I
able to
Gofu.
summon a Helix. Like you have to summon Gofu, and then have something else to do with it. Otherwise, you're only just summoning Gofu and making like an Igrisu or something.
Also, like Gofu doesn't really bait any hand trap. It doesn't really do much.
Yeah.
It's like Gofu is okay. Gofu could be a 3 and it would still be fine.
Yeah, I'm very close to just not playing for YCS Sydney, but that's another story. For YCS Melbourne, wrong place.
So where are we up to now? I think so. After circuit break, we haven't had too many events recently. What was the last event we had? This major one.
I think we
There was
skipped.
Prague.
Did we skip Rimini?
And there was...
Did we skip
Oh
Rimini?
no, we talked about Rimini vaguely. That was like
Okay.
the world sort of portion, right?
Oh yeah.
Was Rimini full power Spiral or?
No, Rimini
No.
was before Spiral.
Oh yeah.
Rimini was when Master Rule was in effect, but Zoo was still the format.
Yeah.
Basically. Zoo format with Master Rule.
Oh. You didn't top that one, right? I believe it was won by.
No, I got 3rd.
Oh,
That one.
there was
You played
one.
the
There was,
Draco
there
deck,
was
right?
only one single YCS this year you didn't top, right?
Yeah, but I went 9-2 at that one.
Yeah. What was the one that Raf won? That was London, right?
No, that was Prague.
Prague.
Oh, I'm so drunk right now. I don't even know what's going on. Okay, so Rimini was Zoo. So we're up to Prague, which was quite recently.
Well, there was one before Prague, right? There was San Francisco, I think.
Yeah, I don't know
San
about the
Diego.
American ones.
There was,
I don't.
I know Ryan Levine top 32'd one with Spiral post ban list and
Yeah.
then pre ban list Spiral.
Oh, we're just-
Yeah,
came-
Ryan was playing the Go second deck.
The
Yeah.
Khan brothers won, right?
Sorry.
One of them did.
Yeah, I know one won and the other one won.
Yeah.
I know they didn't win at the same time. I know that.
And so for the YCS Prague, Raf won. I'm so happy that Raf won that. By the way, like he scrubs out like Irish fucking nationals, but he wins YCS Prague. I'm so happy for him. Like
I mean, he didn't really scrap this year. He had quite a good year still. But, yeah.
Fucking Ireland, eh?
But yeah, he did deserve
For
that
sure.
one. Yeah.
So that was with the Spiral Go second deck, which kind of became like
Yeah.
the standard and stuff.
We played like every single one of CCG played like exactly the same list. That was great.
Yeah, that deck was really good.
Yeah.
I think that the Go second Spiral deck is actually like quite a decently fun deck.
Oh yeah, like I said, that format is okay. That format is definitely okay, even though it's like still not really versatile, which I know you like that, but the format is still okay, even though it's Spiral and stuff.
Yeah.
It feels like an actual game of Yu-Gi-Oh, where like you try and break their board and have like all these recovery plays and stuff like that.
It's like Spiral is like a lot. Spiral is a lot less broken, and so like under hand traps, the boards that they make are not even that big, and then you just play a real game where like instead of playing around back row, you play around hand traps and stuff. So it works like that.
Seeing the disparity in like the matchup as well, with 5 cards versus 6 cards, is also kind of huge.
Oh yeah, that's true. Like, cause 5 card Spiral is so much less consistent. Huh?
Oh yeah, it's insane. I don't know how people can do it, but
yeah.
So I think we're coming basically to the end of the year now. So if you guys want to start throwing out questions, we can do like a bit of a Q&A if you have enough stuff and talking points for just 2017 as a whole. Just mention anything you want, really. We can go over it. But yeah, after Prague, I guess we're basically up to the end of the year. So
yeah. After Prague, there was like nothing for me. I haven't played since.
You used to have been like grinding regionals like fuck, aren't you?
Cards.
No, I have. Oh yeah, I have played like 1 or 2 regionals. But
Is that it?
I mean, like, there is no regionals in December, so I haven't played.
Oh, okay. All right. So let's start with the questions, I guess. Do you think we'll ever have another healthy format?
Of course,
Hopefully.
I think so. I don't doubt it. Honestly, I don't doubt it.
I've noticed a trend from this year, at least, that the formats tend to be more fun after the best deck gets hit.
Honestly,
Once,
like
rather than killed.
This year's format, we've had 4 YCSs, and only one of them has been a terrible format. The other 3 have all been healthy.
Yeah. Which I suppose is different if you're American, because I think it'd be more like half and half at that point, rather than 75%.
The thing is, like, we as like CCG have found a solution for almost every single event. So like everyone that just is complaining is basically just like just because he doesn't find a solution, he's like, oh, the format's so unhealthy. I don't think that's the case.
I also think the issue is that you only have like one event for a format at like any given time, or at least most of the time, right?
Which really
So
sucks.
even if you do sort of find the answer, maybe it just doesn't go your way, and then stuff.
Oh yeah,
becomes
you have to do
unfortunate.
well in that one event. If you don't,
Yeah.
That's true.
I think that's the big downside compared to like other games, or at least like other years in Yu-Gi-Oh, where it's just like you get to trace back your steps and try again. But that's a whole different story.
That was cool when we had the like half a year format. That was cool.
Yeah, I like that. Just a lot of like wiggle room.
Yeah,
you had like more evolution in a format. That's definitely cool. Yeah, that's true. I do enjoy that.
I never thought I would miss that, but I actually really miss like 6-month ban lists.
Like also like I think one of the prime examples for that is like Necros format, where it like changed so much in terms of tech cards every single event.
Yep.
Or like the one event everyone was playing Effect Veiler, but then everyone started, or the good players started just playing multiple Trishalas and stuff like that. That was cool.
Bohdan, you coming back to Europe in 2018? You go to Euros, right? I think.
Maybe we'll see. We'll see what's happening.
Do you always Ash Helix? What if the opponent gets Master Plan effect without Helix? I don't know how you're solving Master Plan without Helix.
You don't always Ash
Depends on like is it? Are you going? Are they going second? Are you going second? I don't know.
Yeah, there's a lot of variables
depends,
there.
Right?
It massively depends on what you know from their hand, their graveyard, their resources, whatever. Sometimes you just don't care about Helix.
But generally, in like a vacuum, I think you just Ash Helix. Like I get
generally, of course, in a vacuum, if the first thing they do is summon Helix, you should Ash it. Yes.
Best card
But
of
I
the
feel
year.
like there's also
best card of the year, and why was it Theseus?
Yeah, true. That card was pretty good.
Personally,
has it to be released this year or just like?
Just well, I don't know. I guess either or.
Spiral Tough.
Spiral Tough.
I think I would like to say Toad, but I think I have to say Helix.
Toad was 2016, dummy.
I know, but
get out of here.
Well, in terms of best or favorite, I think those are different questions. Best, I think it's obviously without a doubt, like I don't know, like Dryden or Helix, like one of those.
Dragonic Diagram. I don't know. There's so many good cards this year.
My favorite was Set Rotation. I think I thought it was pretty cool.
I think the best one also for the future is going to be Ash Blossom. Like best in a vacuum is going to be Ash Blossom.
Yeah,
because like Helix is going to die in 2018. Diagram is eventually going to die. Ash Blossom may never die if they don't hit it.
Yeah, like that card is just always just going to be staple, regardless, main or side. So
I think that's a good pick.
There's a lot of guys asking about the next format and stuff. I mean, it's really hard to answer these kind of questions because it's like we don't know if there's a ban list, what new set imports are coming, because there's a lot of link stuff we don't know. So it's really hard to
be
tell.
honest, I also just haven't touched anything since.
Yeah,
like I'm looking at
your cards are overrated. I haven't touched anything.
Like I have to play so many regionals with current format.
I have a YCS in 2 weeks. I'm just not dealing with that.
Yeah.
I suppose, like, generally, how do you think the format is going to shape up in 2018 based on what we know so far? For example, the Linked Rain pros. I think as long as Christian Needle Fiber is coming to the game, like, the game's going to suck, but we'll see what they do in preparation for that.
I imagine there'll be something dumb, but something will also be kept in check, and then you still get to play normal Yu-Gi-Oh! With all these cool Link monsters, but, yeah. they're not gonna let it be degenerate, for that long in time. Right? It's just you'll have maybe one event where something is really stupid, and then the next event it's non-existent. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we also just don't know if they keep the ban list like that or if they want to change it again before Vice is broken, for example. Maybe they won't.
That's true. I can only hope. Though.
Do you think any rogue decks will become meta in 2018? I think if you're playing Grinder Golem and what's the other broken thing that everyone just runs?
Security Dragon.
Yeah, if you just play all that stuff, it doesn't matter what your deck is, like, it's probably okay.
It's like, are these the zoo cards of 2018? Like, you can throw into anything and
yeah, it's crazy.
Maybe. Not really, but...
Are you looking forward to any decks in 2018?
I don't know what's coming out, so I'm going to say no.
No?
I'm looking forward to Paleo becoming good again.
Well,
I don't know if that ever happens.
I think it goes without saying.
I'm very happy to play Burning a bit.
Yes, thank you. I was going to say I can't believe you forgot Bohdan, but Cherubini's coming out.
I can't wait.
Bohdan, how do you beat Trickstars and why is it just normal summoning a 1900 vanilla? I feel like this guy knows you.
Yeah, probably. No, I know who he is. Yeah, that deck is way too hard to beat.
Trickstars is like so easy.
How do you feel Konami handled... How do you feel Konami handled set releases and balancing this year?
Terribly. I don't know.
No, I don't think so.
Balancing was okay. They of like fix stuff a lot quicker than usual, but
yeah, I think their ban lists have been more in time and more on point.
I feel like the set releases have been kind of they're like.
I think it's generally been okay, but I really don't like the uncertainty with like ban lists. I hate the uncertainty with unban lists. Yeah. Like you never know. Like, should I invest? Should I not invest? Like for a casual player or a casual competitive player, like I don't want to spend money on ashes for them to potentially get hit. I don't want to invest in, barrages for it to get hit potentially. Like, you know what I mean? It's not really good for. I mean, like super competitive players are going to play the best deck regardless. But for people who just kind of like want to like play good decks, but not, it's just a nightmare.
Wait a minute. So he asked about set releases, right?
Set releases as well, yeah.
Yeah, they release sets like almost the same time frame every year, and like the numbers always tend to match up. The only thing that I wasn't entirely sold on was just the introduction of what is it? Like the Fusion Enforcers sort of style sets. I think those are like kind of weird, and then you're seeing like archetypes that generally like just wouldn't actually they just don't see play anyway. It's just like you're releasing archetypes into the game that probably should just be released in like maybe a core set, and it seems a lot more reasonable, right? Like I feel like Invoked in like a core set would have been like a lot better than dedicating it to a set like that, but that's just me.
I'm just really mad they didn't bring fucking Patchwork out on that Fusion Enforcer set.
Yeah. Oh well.
Josh, someone has a question for you here saying, how do you overcome the bias of disliking mirrors and then playing the best deck knowing you just have to play it? I ask because you've previously been vocal about disliking mirrors.
No, I don't generally. I only dislike mirrors when they're bad. Like,
like unhealthy.
I don't know. Like, generally, the best deck is only really the best deck if the mirror is alright. Like, look at like Dragon Rulers or Necros and stuff like that. The mirror matches have always been like really, really good. Because the best deck usually tends to be also like kind of like full of options, kind of hard.
It deals with all the bad decks as well.
Yeah, stuff like that. We're just like I said, Zoo was kind of like a weird best deck. Same for Spiral, because they were like a little bit unbalanced, because like they were so good going first, such good boards. They were just exceptions, basically, and these exceptions, you just have to see it. Sometimes, if you can't win the mirror, you just have to ask yourself, is it because the mirror just sucks, or is it because I can't really play the mirror well enough? If you say, okay, I can confidently say that the mirror is bad because the mirror just sucks, then you maybe have to find another solution. But normally the mirror
There's always
is
an answer
fine.
to it. There's always a way you can win, but sometimes you just can't, because you have to play 10 rounds of a tournament, and you can just verse the wrong decks, and then you can lose. That's just how it works.
Basically, if you can confidently say, okay, I'm not winning the mirror, it's bad, I can't get better at the mirror anymore, then maybe I'll choose a different deck. Like, And then if you can't, like for London, for example, I just couldn't find. I tried a lot of stuff. I tried World Chalice and stuff like that. I was like, can I find something that can beat Spiral? And I was like, I can't. And so, and in the end, I was just like, okay, well then I guess I'm just gonna play Spiral. I don't like it. I don't like the mirror, but I'm gonna play Spiral.
So I'm just going to do 2 more questions because I got to wrap up soon.
Okay.
It's a really good one here. Where was it? What do you think the next hand trap should be? Because the Ghost Ash archetype thing, whatever weeb bullshit, there's one more left, I think. So what do you think it should do?
Shit, I have no idea.
So Ogre destroys, there's one that banishes from the extra, and the one that stops searching. I can't really think of anything they would have to do for it to be good, but not broken.
I am not a fan of, for example, cards like Cherries, for example, because Cherries is either shit or either super broken and completely destroys a deck. I don't like that. I like Ash, I like Reaper. I have liked Maxi in certain formats, in others I didn't. I just feel like they should be making something in the direction of Ash Blossom that's just like a 1-for-1 trade or something. I don't know. Stop something. I feel like there is something for almost everything, right? There's like Crow, Skullmeister, and whatnot. I don't know.
Yeah. Maybe like, well, where do you go from here for like the hand? I feel like you just have to have one that negates an effect or something, right? Like almost like that Fire King. But more
have you heard of Effect Veiler?
And not a Fire King. No, like negates any effect.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Maybe that's just too far gone at that point. But again, like
if
you look at something like Ash Blossom, isn't it sort of just the same thing? Like if it just says negate a monster effect.
Maybe like a generic Honest would fit.
I mean, it could be interesting in certain formats. Yeah, maybe
that'd be kind of cool.
I don't think it would be too broken. Definitely, you could release that. It would be fine.
A generic Honest.
Yeah,
maybe.
And just one gives random decks a bunch of reach, game shots and stuff. You always have to play around it, right?
Yeah. One final question. Like you also... Oh, sorry. Okay, finish your point.
No, I was just gonna say we're almost at the point where, whenever we have a certain format, we can just take one of the hand traps that already exists and just take it. Like for example, if we will ever find a format where it's like super grave intense again, we can just pick up DD Crow. We don't have to print a new one for that.
Yeah.
We have a lot of stuff for that. We have like Scrollmeister, DD Crow, Cycle Reader, whatever. Effect Veiler even, stuff like that.
And just final point, how important do you guys think strong locals is to improving as a player? I personally think like, I'll just answer like from my perspective. One of the reasons I have not enjoyed this year, especially more than others, has been like formats and stuff, and I haven't really enjoyed some of the decks that have come out this year. But one of the things especially was my locals has declined a lot over this year. And I think that having somewhere to play, even if the format isn't very good, if you have a regular like 20-30 people that you meet up with every week to play, that's still fun and it's still good for the game. And I think my technical skill at the game or whatever was at its best in like 2015, late 2014, because like that's when my locals was like thriving most. That's when more people were coming and stuff. So I think it's very important personally. But I think you're like almost, well, not like you probably don't disagree, but like you have never like had like a strong like locals or anything, right, Josh? Like recently.
I don't even play locals.
Yeah.
Most of the time, but like I think any locals is good for you to improve. You don't need to. Yeah, of course, it can help to meet up with better players or good players. But even playing against like bad players can help you as long as you evaluate it right. Like, as long like
you can always learn something when you play. Yeah. Like obviously, there's a point where you can't, but even against bad people, you can see like if they're doing something and you're just like, oh hey, like maybe that would work this way, or you know they do a certain play and you're like, hey, like I didn't.
Even just like evaluating your own deck, like if you see someone else making a mistake, that just means you know how to do it better. And that's something you can learn. Like for example, you see something and you realize, oh, if he would have done that differently, I would have lost. You can still learn something out of it. Like you can still say, okay, maybe if I played something better, he would have won against me. And that's still something you can learn. So basically, you don't even you don't necessarily need better people than you at your locals. As long as you just play and practice, I think it's fine. You can like meet or talk to better players like somewhere else, like on the internet.
You also sort of need like you need the not the skills. I don't know if that's the word I'm looking for. You just like you don't want to sort of stagnate by just like playing the same people at locals either. Though, like if you play the same 10 people every week for like the last 5 years, right? And you're sort of just like it's like inbred testing. You're sort of like in your own little bubble, and you don't really branch off into the real world. I feel like that's an issue. But like just going to locals and then trying to build like maybe not like a team sort of, but just having like a group of people that you interact with weekly and you discuss ideas, like sort of like that, right? I feel like that's a good way to like utilize locals. You go there, you talk Yu-Gi-Oh, you play some games, you have some fun, and that just makes the game a lot more appealing.
Yeah, it's all just a question of how you evaluate it, like, and then if you know how to evaluate it right, you can even learn something from playing against bad people. So.
All right, sorry guys, I didn't think this would take as long. There are quite a few really good questions I wanted to also include, but I just had to kind of pick the best ones. Yeah, so this is it's been a long one. We've finally come to the end. 2017, a long year, controversial, ups and downs, lots of high points, lots of low points. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Thanks so much to Josh and Bohdan for taking time out to help arrange this and show up and talk to you guys. Make sure you support the channel by contributing either through a donation, subscription, or just simply subscribing on YouTube to make sure that we can get as many of these done throughout the year and just keep the community like together in these kind of talks and stuff. It means a lot. Any final comments or shout outs before you two leave?
Nothing too special. Nothing.
Okay. CCG maybe, you know, your team.
DGZ Bods 5.
YGOsingles.com, DGZ Bods 5. Thanks for watching, guys. I'm gonna head off now. Thanks. I'm gonna head off the stream as well. So good night.
Yeah, I have to go to this DBS locals and hate myself.
Everyone, give Bohdan your energy. If you've watched this far, in the comment section, give us a hashtag, Bohdan. What should they leave the hashtag as?
DGZ Bods 5.
Hashtag DGZ Bods 5 if you've watched this far.
Exactly.
Thanks for watching, everyone. Take care and good night.
Good night.